So how did you get to this point in your career? Trace out for us your path once you left Wesleyan and how you ended up here.
I actually would not have ended up here if it wasn't for Wesleyan. My first job out of school was working for the producers on Towelhead, Alan's first feature that he directed. And I had been sending my resume out to every job I had heard of, just hoping that I would get called in. And the first place I got called into was for the UPM and executive producer of Towelhead. And she brought me in and said, "You don't really seem qualified, but I saw that you went to Wesleyan on your resume, and my godson goes to Wesleyan right now, and that's a good school, so you must be kind of smart." And I interviewed with her, and she sort of said, "Well, there's no way you're experienced enough for this job. You have no idea what to do, but, come be an office PA a couple days a week, and we'll go from there." And after a couple weeks of doing that, they ended up promoting me into the job I had initially interviewed for. And then from that job, I went to work for a director, Wayne Kramer, a writer-director, for a couple of years. And then I ended up coming back to work for Alan 3 years ago now. So one job has led to the next. Nothing was random. It all came from that first job.
And how did the time that you spent at Wesleyan in classes working with some of your peers within the major, how did that prepare you for what you found after life at Wesleyan?
Wesleyan gave me both the tools to talk about film and such an important base of knowledge and a base of films that I'd seen so that I could make references that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And I walked away with such a strong network of friends and sort of peers, mostly from the film program, but also people who took a few film classes but weren't necessarily film majors, are out here working, and everybody has sort of come together and helps each other. And that's made a big difference for me.
So what kind of advice would you have for a new graduate? This is a tough job market. People are getting anxious. What would you say to them based on your own experiences out here?
I would say, reach out to the connections that you do have. Reach out to the Wesleyan alum that are out here. I would also say you can't really be above anything. No task is too small. And if you're willing to do anything with a smile on your face, it really goes a long way. I think attitude is so important. And I also think you need to be willing to do more than your job entails. When I started as an office PA on Towelhead, at 7 o'clock when the production coordinator would send me home, I would walk across the hall to the producer's office where the assistants were and ask them if they needed help. And I'd always be there till 11 or midnight helping them, and I wasn't getting paid, but it definitely paid off in the end. So.
Good. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Thank you for having me.